Hello everyone and welcome to a Static Grass Creation Studio update. Today we have this sizable commission right here. It is multiple game systems, so we've got Lord of the Rings, Malifaux, and Myth. We'll just take a closer look at some of these models here. We've got native warriors. I'm not sure which game system they're in. They got a couple conversions. We have in the back there's Rohan peasant archers. And then on horseback are Rohan horseback archers. The ones in the green capes. The white capes are additional sons of Eorl, if you know that name. I guess they're kind of elite units for Rohan army and Lord of the Rings. This last one over there, and the gray horse, blonde hair, she is actually the shield maiden. And we've got a couple of Lord of the Rings Great Eagles, standard models from Games Workshop. Right in the middle there is a Malifaux whiskey golem from the guild, I believe. Nazgob Great Shaman. A couple of hounds. And gremlins from Malifaux. War pig and his 3 little piglets. And additional Malifaux stuff. Or not Malifaux, Myth, sorry. Myth the board game, and then a couple of Guild All-Stringers in the middle there. Oh, looking very nice. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a few of the horse archers. Yeah, so these are painted to a detail standard. Pretty much everything is in this commission. That includes some, highlights, a little bit of shading. And then in this case, we have some freehand on the shields. So it's just the shield design, very simple patterns. These models I don't believe are from Lord of the Rings, or from Games Workshop. They are from, they're some kind of Viking models, just being used as Lord of the Rings models, as counts as, well, not really counts as, but stand-ins. So this is kind of like the general color scheme for Rohan, for this client's Rohan, like the green cloaks differentiate them a little bit. We have the red shields to help with that. He's got specific shields and how their helmets kind of look. So these guys aren't very rich, so they have leather helms with steel reinforcement kind of thing. Versus over here, I'll just switch them out. Versus the more elite units like the Sons of Eorl, who have gold rims on everything. These guys have gold studs on their shields. Yeah, studs on their shields. They have little bits of gold here and there for their various weapons and stuff like that. They look richer, pay better. These are the peasant archers. They are on, I believe they're on secret weapon bases. They're like the runic mountain. Actually, this one has better runes on this one. So it actually has runes. There we go. Yeah, and same as the horse archers or horseback archers, they also have the steel trim on leather helmets, got bow and arrows, leather armor, just very basic stuff. Yeah, they're you can see they're dressed in whatever clothing they could put on them. The cloaks I know are from Victoria Miniatures. 90% sure on that. Yeah, and they fit perfectly on all these models here. this one is the Shield Maiden. Painted her to a display standard, so some blending in there, some more fine freehand, particularly on the cloak. Normally, I think it was the Rohan Royal Guard that I did in a previous commission for this same client. They had like sort of a thicker gold trim around the edges, whereas this one's sort of, the cloak has like a fancy embroidery on there, if you can see it. Yeah, so this head was swapped out for the regular, you know, male Viking head. Unfortunately, I think some of the heads were a little bit too big, but we managed to settle on this one. These native warriors are called Braves. Not sure which game system they're going to be in. Maybe Lord of the Rings. However, did these guys up in my detailed standard. They are on custom or on specialty bases from. Not sure. I don't think they're from Secret Weapon. I think they're from a different company. But yeah, these guys, normally they aren't actually armed with these weapons. They're actually armed with shields, I believe. And I was asked to switch them out, so instead I gave them throwing spears in one hand, and then the other hand, these are actually lizardmen blow darts. Yeah, lizardmen blow darts. And then some of them, if you notice, they actually have some face painting on them. I did a little bit of research. Not sure if this is 100% true, but the different colors actually denote different honors placed on them. So blue means like level-headedness and wise. So depending on how much paint you actually have on your face, so one line on the forehead or something like that means, you know, probably said something smart. Or along the mouth, actually, it means you say things well, or you talk well. And then the chieftain up here, he has his whole head is painted in blue, so he's basically a wise man. The red actually denotes like hot-bloodedness or viciousness in combat. So if you have like, you know, your head is painted red, that means you're like the greatest warrior in the tribe, pretty much. Whereas, like a single line on the forehead, or whoever I put that on, they're, you know, they fight well or something like that. This is, well, moving on to another system, Malifaux. This is a whiskey golem. I think it's because it's made out of whiskey barrels. I was asked, because a lot of the Malifaux gremlins and this whiskey golem have the same base, so the floorboards, broken floorboards, the whiskey golem is, you know, made out of wood, so I was asked to change the color of the wood of either one. So I chose the whiskey golem to, you know, keep all the color schemes sort of tied together in some way. I lightened it up. Now this is kind of like a, I don't know, a maple or cedar kind of color. I don't know my colors of wood, so I'm just kind of shooting the wind here, or shooting in the dark. And yep, I think it turned out very nicely. Yeah, it's very, all the Malifaux models are very characterful. And we'll move on to like the gremlins here. Like, look at that. All of their poses, they might not have like the most detail compared to some other companies, but all of the models, they look like characters. They're posed in such a way that you know, how they're sculpted tells a story. So these gremlins over here, I believe most of these models, most of the Malifaux models I'd be given here are from the guild. Not sure what they do or anything like that, but this guy right here, he's kind of like a character, one with the big giant pistol. Rest of the gremlins are pretty much your standard minion guys that I guess have some kind of attack power. Where is he? This guy right here is a slop hauler. I don't know what he does, but I'm pretty sure some kind of support role. And of course I totally forgot the Lord of the Rings Great Eagles. I was just asked to follow the box art for these guys. They're the standard built, no conversions, two bird set from Games Workshop. So yeah, pretty standard color scheme there. Black long feathers and brown the rest of it. White head. I found it really interesting to do the beaks, the beak and the feet. I really like that, the yellow, the vomit yellow kind of stuff, kind of color. Here we have more Malifaux stuff. These are, big one is the war pig. He has a little gremlin riding on top of him with a little cowboy hat and some kind of hat and like a banjo on his back. Very interesting model. And then the three piglets down there, they're the angry piglets. All these are still my detail level, but I put in a little bit of weathering to the little piglets to put a little bit more extra in there, right? The piglet bases are from a company. I'm not sure which one. And then the war pig has just like a standard static grass dirt base. More models from Malifaux. These guys are guild Ostringers. They hold birds. I believe I read somewhere they have like a attack that doesn't need line of sight, which is quite rare in Malifaux. Again, these guys are very characterful. I was asked just to follow the color scheme on the boxes, mostly. I made their cloaks a little bit more blue, though. Here, these guys might be for Malifaux. I did a couple of hounds earlier in an earlier commission that were from Malifaux, but these guys are on 25mm bases, and the hounds that I did before were put on 30mm bases. So these two are a couple of pit bull models, and I did two color schemes. I wanted to explore a couple of the colors, the ways that pit bulls, you know, have different colors on their fur. First one we got like a diamondback gray pit bull, and then the other one is I see a lot more often over here is the brown and white fur one. And now we're moving on to Myth. These guys are the bad guys. Bigger ones are captains. There's some kind of steel golems, and then we got the minions. So the first one here is eyeball minion of some sort. I have another captain here. The minions are actually painted to my tabletop standard. There's dry brush highlighting rather than fine highlighting like what you see on the golems there. So these other ones are some kind of like tree cyborg chainsaw automatons. Now we have the Myth heroes. If you don't know what Myth is, it is a Kickstarter that was successfully funded a couple years ago now. I missed it, but this client here did fund it, and he got a whole bunch of extras. So the bad guys that you saw last time, they were not part of the core set. They're an extra that were added on or were part of or were free for pledging. You can probably find this in your local hobby shop, the board game. You'll find a lot of these models in the core set. So you'll get like her, or maybe not her, but you'll get the assassin. We got the warrior priest over here, the engineer, and the archer. And then there's a male variant of her that you would also get in there. And then a whole bunch of minions and stuff like that. Monsters. It's like it's a dungeon crawl RPG board game, I believe. And yeah, so some of these models I did get duplicates of. I painted in previous commissions, so I was asked to switch up their color schemes a little bit, like the engineer and the assassin and that warrior priest cleric type. So the assassin this assassin is normally green cloak, red clothing, but I switched that up. And these guys were all put on specialty bases. These are not the standard base. This one actually is. It's like a sort of kind of looks like a desert type base or cobblestone or whatever it is, slate type. Engineer normally has red armor, or yellow armor. Female archer. Yeah. There's because the Kickstarter went so well, they managed to unlock a lot of stretch goals and sculpt a lot more models for it. It actually looks like a really fun game. This guy is like a warrior priest type with like a hammer, very holy, also blind. Last of the myth models are these anti-heroes. I'm not sure if you can play as them or if they're mini bosses, but they are still I have, but I haven't seen a overweight like flagellant executioner type guy before. He's like a assassin archer type dude. She is another assassin. This time I put blood on the daggers to, indicate she's, bloodlust or bloodthirsty, I suppose. Yeah, so more specialty bases put on for them. Cobblestone streets, and she is actually standing on a manhole cover where I used Games Workshop technical paint, the oxide, which I absolutely adore. I love that technical paint from Games Workshop. And last but certainly not least is Nazgob, the Orc Great Shaman. I painted this guy to a display standard, following a color scheme that I sent, that a link was sent to me for. And yeah, I love painting this guy. So much character in this model. So yeah, we've got like all these different bones. He's actually holding like a very large bone for casting his spells, and that even has little details in there. So he has like engraved skulls in there with little sapphires stuck in there. Yeah, his skin, very, very nicely done. His lips, actually, I did kind of like a vomit bright, or a vomit yellow kind of color, because I assume that orcs don't exactly have red blood like we do. So I thought I'd switch it up a little bit, right? I painted his blade not worn out, mostly because he's a shaman. I would think that he'd use his blade for more as sacrificial means rather than in actual combat. So that's why it kind of looks newer.
and, you know, clean. And yeah. Static Grass Creations is a professional miniature model painting and assembly company. Check us out at www.staticgrasscreations.com for more information. Set up a project today and let's bring some miniatures to life. If you like what you see, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe.